This is FNaF World 101.
No theories, just the basics.
These videos are designed to help fans understand the convoluted lore within the FNaF universe.
We are not imposing our own biases and have designed this series to allow viewers to make their own theories.
This video will be presenting lore as it was originally introduced when the game was released and does not take into account information in later installments. FNaF World is a fantasy RPG featuring parodied characters from the first 4 installments of the FNaF series. There are 2 modes you may choose from before starting the game: Adventure Mode, which allows you to update your party members as the game progresses, and Fixed Party Mode, which prevents you from changing the characters once a party has been created at the start of the campaign. It also has 2 difficulties to choose from: Normal and Hard. The player begins by choosing 2 parties consisting of 4 characters each. The starter characters the player is provided with in Adventure Mode are the original FNaF animatronics and the toy animatronics featured in FNaF 2. Once teams are assigned, Adventure Fredbear will appear, explaining that something has gone terribly wrong in a place he refers to as the flip side. The world is fractured, causing objects to glitch and monsters to bleed into his reality. He states the monsters are misguided side effects of whatever has gone wrong, and it is up to the player to sway their allegiance. The player is then abruptly swept away into the world of FNaF with the task of investigating the cause of this fractured reality.
Once the first enemies are encountered, players will quickly discover that parties can be swapped mid-battle to achieve the most effective tactics and efficiency. As you progress, these parties can be custom tailored to your own unique gameplay preferences as more characters are unlocked and added into the party selection menu. Characters are unlocked at random, generally appearing to challenge the player after a battle has commenced. Unlockable characters can spawn in any region. However, certain characters have higher spawn rates in specific areas. The gameplay consists of accessing new areas by exploring the open world. Once new areas are revealed and a fast travel button is activated in each section, the player can teleport between each area through an overworld map. Enemies can be found throughout the game and be battled, each exclusive to their own area. Upon defeating an enemy, the player will gain experience points and Faz tokens used to buy in-game upgrades. The battles consist of turn-based random encounters where each party member has 3 fixed moves that they may activate during their duration. These movesets are oftentimes intriguing, either matching previously explored lore for a character or foreshadowing lore yet to be explored in later installments. We strongly recommend investigating each individual party member's abilities in your own time.
There is also an inner dimension, referred to by Adventure Fredbear as Fractures, which enables the player to travel to otherwise inaccessible spots around the map through the use of a traversal sub-tunnel system. These sub-tunnels have 4 layers in total, each level progressively losing detail and becoming more warped both audibly and visually, mimicking the appearance of a computer's motherboard. Deeper layers of the sub-tunnels are accessed by walking into glitched objects or lighted access points. Traversing the sub-area can be fairly difficult to maneuver, however, so it is important to not venture too deep. Notably, Adventure Fredbear even warns the player to not go deeper than the 3rd level, stating, "I'm not sure you would find our way back up." At the end of the game, on normal difficulty, Adventure Fredbear will ask the player to defeat an entity called the Security System to mend the flip side and stop his reality from glitching. The player must activate all fast travel buttons around the map and recruit a party member who can use a digital shield prior to challenging the security system to a battle. Once the security boss is defeated, the normal mode ending is unlocked, allowing the player to enter a tent that was situated behind the boss. The player is then mocked by a mysterious individual speaking in white text for beating an imaginary enemy in an imaginary game on the easiest difficulty. FNaF World will then end abruptly as text reading "The End" pops up on screen. This ending grants the security trophy on the file select screen once the game is booted back up.
Before moving on to Easter eggs, we do want to note a few interesting details during gameplay. The very first release of FNaF World has an 8-bit arcade-style overworld map similar to that of FNaF 2's minigames. This was later updated and was completely 3D rendered to match the battle animations. Several new characters actually make their debut in this title. Lolbit is a vendor who appears in multiple regions in the game, marketing items known as bites that deal additional damage or act as healing counterparts during battle. Funtime Foxy is an unlockable party member with a fairly powerful moveset. Additionally, Pork Patch, Bubba, Brow Boy, Bouncer, Overclock, Gold Endo, Mad Endo, Seagoon, and Auto Chipper are newly introduced as bosses. As you progress through the game, you will have the opportunity to accumulate items called chips, which you can find by locating and unlocking chests around the map, granting your party power-ups, resistances, and power boosts. Unlike all other party members in FNaF World, all characters in the second to last row of the party section menu aside from Springtrap will appear with question marks in place of their names when they are first encountered. These characters will not have their name revealed until they have been defeated and added to your party. These characters include Shadow Bonnie, Nightmare Fredbear, Nightmare, The Crying Child, Funtime Foxy, Fredbear, and Spring Bonnie. Additionally, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are the most difficult characters to unlock in the game. When starting a new game, the game will prompt the player to pick one of 3 empty file slots to save into for the remainder of their campaign. However, even if there is no data saved into the slot that is picked, the game will ask if you would like to erase data for that particular save. If yes is selected, the game will commence. However, if no is selected, the player will be rerouted back to choose one of the 3 empty file slots again, preventing the game from starting until yes is chosen. Very interesting. Finally, upon opening the game for the first time, the player will be greeted with an unsettling cutscene prior to loading into the main menu. A pair of yellow eyes will peer at you from the darkness, as pale yellow text fades in and out. The entity will speak, stating that they are in a sanctuary, but now something has gone terribly wrong. The entity makes note of their role, boasting, "That's why I am here." They continue, informing the player that they won't let the same happen to them. Then, a familiar line, notably from FNaF 4's ending, will fade into view. "I will put you back together." After a few moments, the screen will fade to black, and the main menu for the game will then come into view.
If the player replays the game on hard mode and goes through adventure mode the same way as before, the player will be transported to a new area after entering the red tent found behind the security system boss. At the end of the path is a portal which will lead the player to a different final boss of the game, the Puppet Master, also referred to as Anim Dude. When the player defeats this boss, Anim Dude begins to reprimand the player for demanding so much of him, and then guilts them by saying that you have killed the storyteller. After this, they explode into a cloud of pixels and the words "The End" appear on screen in all caps, unlike the normal mode ending, which is lowercase. This ending grants the Anim Dude trophy on the file select screen.
If the player spawns in an NPC Fredbear cutscene, with Fredbear selected as their main party leader, the background will go black and the two will tilt their heads in a glitched manner. The text explains that the universe cannot have 2 Fredbears existing in the same place, which then follows with their bodies exploding. Universe End will appear on screen. This ending grants the Fredbear Legs trophy on the file select screen.
If the player enters the mysterious mine and travels to a hidden pathway in the lower left section of the mine map, the player can activate a boss fight against Cawthon's old creation, Chipper. Once defeated, Chipper begins to lay guilt on the player about his franchise's fate and how he will return one day. This ending grants the Chipper's Revenge trophy on the file select screen.
When the player does not heed Fredbear's warning and travels too deep into the glitched subtunnels of the flip side, they'll find themselves in the 4th level. Here, a mysterious red sprite fishing at a red lake surrounded by a red forest is unveiled. When interacted with, the sprite will reveal his name to be Old Man Consequences. He states that there is no way out now that you have traveled this deep into the code, then offers for you to sit and fish with him since there is nowhere else for you to go. The end appears in the text box. This ending grants a trophy in the form of the Freddy Fazbear sprite on the file select screen.
To complete the drowning ending, the player must reach Old Man Consequences again, but instead of talking with him, you have to enter the lake he is fishing in. The Freddy sprite you are controlling will fall down a black screen endlessly. After about 2 minutes, the screen will cut to a figure wrapping their arms around 2 smaller figures, while a square behind the figures will flash an array of colors. This scene will stay until the player closes the game via Task Manager, or presses F2 to restart the game. Interestingly, text reading "Happiest Day" appears out of view during this scene. The drowning ending is the only ending that doesn't award a trophy of its own. However, if the player gets the drowning ending before they get the fourth glitch ending, they will still receive the fourth glitch trophy.
In order to complete the clock ending, there are very specific directions that the player must follow. One mistake, and you will have to return to a previous save or start a new file altogether. To begin this ending, anytime the player speaks to Adventure Fredbear and reaches the Done button, they should wait until 8-bit Fredbear appears, who begins to suggest a darker tone to the world and gives directions towards collecting clocks found around the map at very specific times of the game. There are 5 clocks. Finding these clocks will trigger a minigame the player must complete perfectly in order to continue towards this ending. Each minigame parallels a secret minigame found in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. In Fazbear Hills, you must push the BB silhouette into the box. In Dusting Fields, you must light up the boxes in a certain order: upper left, upper right, and lower right. In Mysterious Mine, you have to push the 4 cupcakes into the boxes. In Lily Gear Lake's Mysterious Mine, you have to stand on the box in the middle. And lastly, in Pinwheel Funhouse, you must push the Bonnie silhouette into the box. After completing each clock, a portal will open that the player can enter. Once this is done, you will be teleported to the same black screen as the start of the game with glowing eyes staring at you from the darkness. The text will read, "We are still friends. Do you believe that?" The figure continues, "The pieces are in place for you. All you have to do is find them. Rest." After this, he will disappear and the end will appear on screen. This ending grants the Crying Child trophy on the file select screen.
The final ending and trophy is earned by defeating the primary boss in the second update for FNaF World, which we'll review in a few moments. The Pearl Trophy, which is a silver version of the pearl from Dee Dee's fishing hole, is awarded after getting the pearl on Dee Dee's fishing hole 5 times. A silver fan with moving blades is awarded after unlocking all characters on a save file that is not on fixed party mode at least once.
Update 1.2 for the game include a free expansion for FNaF World, acting as a sequel to the original release of the title. The expansion introduced a Halloween-themed region called Halloween Update Backstage, or Halloween Land, in the game files. To access the new area, the player must either speak with a character known as the Desk Man, or by traversing a secret pathway in Fazbear Hills. Once the Halloween world is discovered, NPCs around the map will explain that their code has been repurposed and turned into minigames. Several new characters are introduced as unlockable party members, including most of FNaF 4's Halloween DLC animatronics: Purple Guy, Mr. Chipper, Coffee, and Anim Dude. 4 minigames are also featured in this update: Foxy Fighters, FNaF 57 Freddy in Space, Foxy EXE, and the infamous Chica's Magic Rainbow. Notably, these minigames debuted Five Nights at Freddy's very first voice acting roles in the series.
You won't get tired of my voice, will you?
In Foxy Fighters, the player controls Foxy in a plane, accompanied by Toy Chica, Nightmare Chica, and JJ. The player must move Foxy around to avoid attacks and shoot at enemies. The goal of the minigame is to destroy a processing core guarded by an enemy called Souldozer. Nightmare Chica and Nightmare BB can be unlocked upon successful completion of the minigame. Foxy EXE opens with a screen mimicking an old desktop. The player must click on an icon at the top of the desktop labeled Foxy EXE. You respawn in as Bonnie and must avoid obstacles while withered Foxy's head is present in the background. There are 3 levels, and on each level, Foxy repeats a different phrase.
Listen to my voice, and you will find the key. When you can see, how fast can you flee? Be sure your step through the heart of madness.
If Bonnie does not avoid the obstacles, the minigame will end, and Foxy will state the following line.
Call your big arm onto us.
Once all 3 levels are cleared, Nightmarion will be unlocked. FNaF 57 Freddy in Space is a minigame where the player controls Freddy in a side-scrolling shooter. Collecting Chica's cupcakes provides weapon upgrades as Freddy traverses the space-themed stages. There are 9 in total. At the very end of the minigame, Scott Cawthon's head makes an appearance as the final boss. Depending on the amount of cupcakes that were collected, FNaF 57 will unlock either Coffee, Jacko Chica, or Purple Guy as new party members. In Chica's Magic Rainbow, the player is spawned in as Chica and must survive an infamously difficult platformer where a character named Chica's Magic Rainbow commentates as you progress through the level. If Chica continues to die, the rainbow will progressively become more sadistic towards the player and insult them. After 33 deaths, Chica's Magic Rainbow will kill Chica herself and restart the level. Upon successful completion, Mr. Chipper or Scott Cawthon are unlocked depending on how quickly the course is finished. Additionally, there is a secret boss area in Halloween Land titled Geist Lair. Most of the area is shrouded in darkness, lit by torches and an ominous red glow. Battling enemies drains your party's HP substantially, likely due to a toxic gas present in the lair Fredbear warns against prior to entering the region. At the very top of the map, Purple Geist can be encountered, triggering the game's final boss battle. However, Purple Geist is instantly crushed by Chica's Magic Rainbow, who reveals themselves as the real final boss. Once defeated, the game will go to a cutscene involving the Desk Man.
The Desk Man, a nickname given to him by the fandom, is a secret character that can be located in a building in Fazbear Hills. In the original game's release, when the player enters his house, the gray sprite can be seen leaning over his desk, his head resting on its surface. He will eventually sit up once taking note of the player's presence and speaks. "What are you doing here? I'm busy. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Now it's all a mess. Of course, now there is only one thing left to do. Come back later and maybe I will tell you more." In Update 1.2 of the game, additional dialogue was added. "It's a vicious cycle, you know, but then most things in life are. The pendulum swings one way, then it swings the other. Now we return to darkness. Something terrible is coming. Come back later, maybe I will tell you more." Once Chica's Magic Rainbow is defeated, the player is awarded the final ending to FNaF World and more Deskman dialogue is unlocked. "I'm impressed. What are you doing here? Can't you see that I'm busy? You deactivated my games? I didn't know what else to do. I don't want to disappoint people, but my mind isn't right. I've made something terrible. Her name is Baby. It's too late to deactivate her. I'm sorry." The screen will then fade to black for a moment once he finishes talking. The player will then be teleported to a black screen where a set of yellow eyes can be seen in the darkness. Dialogue will play stating,
"The show will begin momentarily. Everyone, please stay in your seats."
A distorted rendition of the audio will play after this. Then, the player will be teleported back to Deskman's stage. When this room comes back into view, the gray sprite will be face down at his desk, blood spilling across the table. This ending grants the Chica's Magic Rainbow trophy on the file select screen.
Prior to the release of FNaF World, a thank you image on scottgames.com, which was posted after the release of FNaF 4, slowly began to change over time. Over many different images, characters on the original thank you poster transformed into their cartoonish FNaF World counterparts. Additionally, Scott Cawthon actually unveiled an entirely separate website for FNaF World, which has remained inactive for many years after the release of FNaF World's second update. If you open the teaser announcing the second update for FNaF World in a text-based program rather than an image-based program, the teaser image for the second update of FNaF World includes a line in the code which states, "He put the pieces back together." A disturbing image of FNaF World's Mangle hanging themselves with text reading, "See what you've all done," was found by brightening a blackened teaser image on FNAFworld.com. Another unsettling image that was discovered after brightening a dark image was a picture of what might be Balloon Boy with text reading, "Madness takes many forms."
The locked box from FNaF 4 can actually be found within the game's files. However, the chest now appears to be open, its locks completely removed with nothing inside. The file name for the still image of the box is called Code Found. This file can be found in the Underground 1 property in the coding. Although there is an attainable key during a playthrough of FNaF World that unlocks inaccessible sections of the map in foxy.exe mentioning a key, there is no official connection between these keys and the unlocked chest.
In the opening and closing scene of The Clock Ending, the office ambience sound file from FNaF 2 is used. This file is titled as follows.
FNaF World did have a mobile release, however the game was only released for 24 hours on January 12, 2017. Interestingly enough, the description for the mobile version is different from the official description of FNaF World found on Steam and GameJolt. The mobile version reads, "Welcome to a magical world that makes no sense and has no impact to the lore." Whereas the original PC version reads, "Featuring the entire cast from the Five Nights at Freddy's series, this fantasy RPG will let players control their favorite animatronics in an epic animated adventure." Along with this, dialogue in the mobile version had been altered. Some notable changes are Fredbear's dialogue as well as the endings to hard mode and the clocks. Fredbear opens the game with, "Welcome back to FNaF World, the game that almost single-handedly destroyed the FNaF franchise. But don't let that discourage you. There's still a lot of adventure to be had here. But it's not all fun and games. There is an important task that you must accomplish. I'll tell you more about that later. For now, do some exploring. Fight monsters, collect items, and find new allies. Come find me when you are ready to hear more." And 8-Bit Fredbear then says, "There, are you happy now? Enjoying the freak show? Oogie boogie boogie? I'm so creepy in 8-Bit." This pattern continues through the mobile version where text is altered to be more sarcastic and ironic. Upon defeating Dude, his dialogue changes from his original heart-wrenching speech to a nonchalant script. "Okay, alright, I get it. At least tell me that you beat me legit and didn't use one of the OP Halloween characters. I mean, I'm melting, what a world. But seriously, thanks for playing. I hope you enjoyed the port. I mean, it burns. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. I wonder if Fazburger down the street is hiring." As for the clock ending, it's completely changed to reveal that the eyes from the beginning of the game is none other than the bounce pot enemy who apparently caused the bite of 87.
On the title screen for FNaF World, if you hover over Freddy's nose and click it, it will emit the classic honk sound. In Dusting Fields, the log above the mysterious mine, a dancing shadow figure seemingly representing Freddy can be seen in a continuous animated loop. There is an optional glitched area the player can access called &*___TWRE that is an overlay on the normal world map. It can only be accessed by walking into objects in very specific locations, such as a seagull on a stump in Choppy's Woods, a rock near the dancing Shadow Freddy in Dusting Fields, and a gravestone found in Blacktomb Yard. It is the only area where the player can encounter the glitched enemies as well as obtain special chips from the red chests. Interestingly, there are 3 unlockable characters that have the most chance of spawning here: Adventure Crying Child, Adventure Funtime Foxy, and Adventure Nightmare Fredbear.
As FNaF World was announced, Scott Cawthon called the characters adventure animatronics. Although the term wasn't used in-game, the copyrights are listed as adventure versions of each character.
Thank you everyone so much for watching. FNaF World is a very special and unique game in the franchise. It's honestly a shame how often this entry is looked over, despite its lore relevance to the timeline. We hope to shed some new light on your theories and look forward to any questions you might have.
Also, happy FNaF Day! This series has and continues to add a little bit of magic to our everyday lives. Thank you so much, Scott, for everything you have done for the two of us and the entire community. We can't wait to see what future games and movie releases have in store for us.
We also appreciate your support as we have both been very busy with college graduation and a few health concerns. However, we plan on being more consistent with content from this point onwards. Until then, remember to smile. You are the face of the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom.
See you on the glitch side.